2015. You know, we thought we'd have a little fun for this last segment and talk to these guys. These are the guys who created the final levels for the Nintendo World Championship. And I mean, you guys have a massive reputation now for being complete sadists, essentially, for those levels that you created.
I just want to be clear about something. Like, we localize games. Like, we work in the Treehouse. We localize games. We've been working on Super Mario Maker, but one day this guy walks in and says, "Hey guys, we're gonna need some, courses for the Nintendo World Championship final."
And I was pretty cryptic about it too. Like basically, like I need you guys to make some levels. And oh, by the way, like these guys are writers essentially, always writing all the time. And I was like, I need you guys to be like full-time level designers right now because the final of the Nintendo World Championships 2015 depends on you guys.
And how many times we iterated on the courses?
Oh, man.
It felt like a full-time course design job.
And what was lucky for us, we've been helping out. We've been working on Super Mario Maker in localization role since last year's E3. So we've had a year to sort of play with this software, figure out how it works, and watch it go from what we had last year to what it is now, Super Mario Maker.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even just a course design thing. It was also like, we were designing the finals as they were, because we knew that we wanted Mario Maker, and we knew that that was the game to really kind of cap this thing off.
Right.
But, we initially talked about, kind of how many levels we want to have. Do we have the players blindfolded? And we had all these ideas. And what we ended up coming up with is 4 levels to test those
four
players.
Courses.
And that those courses would represent kind of every single era that in Mario Maker. And why don't you guys talk a little bit about what your design approach was from the start? Like,
so if we want to hop into some gameplay here, I'm just going to start with NWC1. If we can, and right here, I'm in the edit feature right now, but if I tap play, I think anybody who watched the NWC is going to recognize this. I mean, this was my original idea, was like I wanted to bring people in a way that looked like something very familiar. Super Mario 1-1. But I already hit a few blocks, but
it only looks familiar until this point right over here, and then it looks.
And I love this. You can see the flagpole on the other end, but
I wanted that little carrot right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you go through the pipe, and this is one of the first things. I remember the very first time I played an early version of this level, you drop out of the pipe, and you're like, what? Like, why?
Some people get
why
down
am I
here
back
and
here again?
get confused. And it was fun because originally I thought about in Super Mario. I thought about making this a underground because when you go down a pipe.
Right.
And then you've got 1-1 in the underground style, and it looks the same, but it just didn't feel right. It felt like keeping things.
Well, part of the concept was basically like confusing players. It's like you already go through like 1-1, and then you're spit back into 1-1.
Let's be honest, the real goal was trolling, like basically trolling the players. And one of the best ways that you can do that here, I'm pointing at this giant wall screen next to us. Yeah. But one of the best ways is that monstrosity is there. But there's also that vine back at the beginning. That serves no purpose other than to waste time of the players.
Up there, man.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This vine that serves absolutely no purpose. And what I love is when Cosmo was playing that level, and he's like, he was kind of like flabbergasted by this level, and had to go back.
Put a few treats in here. Those are bigger than they were in the upper one.
And I also love how you guys are playing with the concept of like all of these question blocks and making them. You died at your own level there, but all these question blocks that are always punish you for hitting them. I mean, yet these guys saw me do it multiple times where I would hit the same question block and I knew what was inside of it, and I would still hit it because I was so conditioned to hit every question block.
It's this reflex. It's like, oh, there's something good in there.
Oh yeah,
you hit it, and then the hammer bro pops out.
It's totally going to be different this time, right?
You can see right here that there was a hammer bow here. I think one of the competitors hit it, and you just slide right in there. And I was determined to have that moment, which did end up happening, where you're playing through here, you're not sure what's going on. You clear that just in case you want a treat. No.
Well, let's talk about some of the director's cut stuff here. The earlier versions of this level were a bit different. There were no vines there.
These vines were actually a late addition. The way this looked about a week ago, no vines there. So you're coming in.
And there were 4 Hammer Bros there.
There used to be a sea of Hammer
Bros. It was like a sea of Hammer Bros.
Let's bring it back a little bit. So what you see right here when you play, this is kind of scary, right? But there's a bomb. There's a preloaded bomb down there that knocks it out. It's not so bad.
We need to name that thing. Like somebody out there, you have to email us the name for that thing because it needs a name.
I'm just mixing this up a little bit.
It did look. There was like a Hammer Bro pyramid.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So there was a point where this looked like this. Yeah, you could make that jump
Yeah, you
right
had
there.
to nail that jump.
So those vines, actually, you don't need them, but without them, it gets really tricky.
Oh, yeah,
I'm just going to go ahead and undo.
Well, another thing here is that the ending is actually not all that unchanged. But, let's talk a little bit about the playtesting that we did. So when we made these levels, I was telling these guys that the end has to be super, super climactic and obviously kind of, well, frankly, kind of butt clenchy. Like, and they were. It was like probably the most butt clenchy thing in my life. But like, it was just, you had to have that razor thin edge of like, it's possible.
Yeah.
But it's
hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
We saw a section here where, I think it was Cosmo got a little hung up here, and you're kind of stuck here. You're not sure. There's a grinder up there. I think he was trying to.
Well, I think he saw the vine up there and thought that he could get to that vine.
I thought he could maybe grab that vine.
And I could put like one more arrow like right here would make it a little more clear.
Because you can do stuff like that. You can use the software. You can guide people. You can do whatever you want.
Like if there were 2 arrows that like told you had to jump from that platform to that platform, like.
But it would have been a little
easier, but that's not always what you want.
Yeah. Well, so I keep getting sidetracked. So our playtesting process was, the important thing about that Mario Maker Final was seeing players experience a level for the very first time and never knowing how to deal with that. And so one of the things we found is that we have a lot of really good Mario players in the Treehouse. And the Treehouse is pretty big these days. Like, we had a lot of people to get through, but you burn through those people. Once they've seen that level that first time, they're tainted,
anymore.
right? Like they know how to beat the level, and so then they get faster and faster at it, and we found that it wasn't working. So what we did is, after you guys spent, no joke, probably like dozens and dozens of hours, polishing these things,
and
we had exhausted everyone basically in the Treehouse who was
I'm just gonna do my own little speed run of this while you guys are talking. Watch out for that Goomba.
Watch out.
We were, basically like desperate to find like new players who had never seen it before. So we were just grabbing you and like, are you good at Mario? Are you good at Mario? Like,
sending out emails. Who's good at Mario? We can't tell you why, but we need you to play this level and we need to time you.
And all of these courses, really, they started off more difficult, and we realized they were too hard, and we had to dial it back. And I think that's actually a pretty good strategy when you're making a course, is to start really difficult and make the mechanics themselves difficult instead of just like making it easy and then adding a bunch of like hammer bros or something.
You can see some little edits here I'm making.
Yeah, it used to be like this. You're totally right. I remember that.
There was a good solid 2 or 3 days where all these burners were facing out, which.
Well, the final thing, I was watching the replay of NWC, and one of the great moments is when John finally made that jump and just nailed it. But what was amazing about that is that he missed the last jump. And what I loved about that, and you actually said this on
run
stage.
through that right now.
Yeah, please do it.
So
you're like, I made it,
here.
and then you overshoot the pipe. And that is exactly as you guys designed it. Like, that was exactly as you designed it.
And then when you run back to the left here, you've got a little house. I had fun deciding which, when you sort of get into that feedback loop, it was fun to just pick these little elements. There's a lot that you can do aesthetically with this game, too. Like, if you take this, you shake it, you can change the color. So there's a lot of these little things you can do. Because we were showing these things off. We wanted things to look really good. So I got kind of obsessed with like all these little details and the things that they put in the software to allow you to do those little, those aesthetic things that sort of are that final layer of polish. Deciding which, I really love this Stiletto Goomba. That's one of our new enemies. Putting that sort of in these, sort of that first course would sort of have this showcase feel. And then I'm just gonna run really quickly too. And then we'll hop into one of the other courses.
So, I was going to say, as soon as you finish this course, let's jump into one of Smitty's courses. And, this is a Morgan special right here.
Still missed it. Still missed it. I'm cheating. I'm using the editor right now.
You're a cheater. Dirty cheater.
You finally get here. You're feeling great about life.
This end, I don't even know if people even caught it because it happened so fast, but you're
so scared when you pop out of that.
Wait, just shooting coins at you.
You're going to get shot in the face and then
you just want that little moment.
You want them to have that moment of terror, absolutely. Yeah. So that was the first course that you made, Morgan.
Yeah.
And once you had made that course,
that was our idea. Was like, let's start in 1-1, something very familiar. I actually went back and looked up images of 1-1 because you can actually see where the blocks are and recreate those. Well, if you really are.
There's an art to it. As soon as I saw this level, the very first version of it, I was like, okay, we have something. We have something really, really, really special. But so
let's hop into the third
going
one.
back to these levels.
I don't know. I think this guy.
The final?
Yeah.
Morgan made the first 2. and Smitty made the second 2. And so we're going to jump into the final now and talk a little bit about that. So we had a different strategy for this one. Why don't you talk about what our goal was for this?
Yes,
this
our
course?
goal for this one was to make it, really difficult and kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for?
It's really technical, yeah. It's been a long day for all of us,
but not punish the players so bad that they had to restart over and over. So that's why throughout the course you see these sections where if they miss a jump, they're just going to have to kind of go back and get back to where they need to be.
Well, I mean, I think that one of the discussions that we had early on was that there's multiple ways you can have difficulty, right? You can have a difficult thing be you can die, or it can be just really technical, very, very, very precise platforming. And it isn't always about dying. And what we found is that actually watching people die again and again and again, it may seem like that would be the hardest thing and that would be most interesting. It's actually watching people pull off really technical things, but not necessarily die, can be like a really exciting way to do it, especially in a speed run where every second counts and everything is on the line.
Yeah, like when you're playing the role of Mario Maker and making these courses, like you're kind of you almost have like an audience in mind. Is it that player that wants to be challenged and die over and over? That's different from maybe a showcase setting or something you'd want to like share. You can sort of make courses that suit these different styles. So Eric's going to show us a little bit of how this used to look.
Yeah, so I changed this a little bit because honestly, like it took our best Mario players like 20 minutes to get through this course when it was at its,
it was a little out of control.
When it was super hard. And now, I had to dial it back.
Oh, I remember this. I remember this one.
This used to be, and this is a little different than it was, but a little more punishing. Like, if you miss this jump, or
and
I guess
there was no block there on the bottom.
Yeah. It was basically like this. So,
that's it.
This was a little bit further up. Oh, geez, that's not what I want. It was like this. So basically, like, instead of just having to do that cycle again, if you mess this up, like you're just dead.
Well, one of the things that we noticed about this style too is, and Cosmo learned this the hard way, is that this particular game has a really kind of a different physics feel because you can do air stalls, you can wall jump. Wall jumping is its own kind of skill, and this level really puts that to
this part was actually a lot more harder.
This part
these were donuts.
Those were donut blocks.
Yeah.
So these
and it was fun, man. Like making these we felt it was a big task asked of the Treehouse to sort of make these courses, and like Eric and I definitely were the ones sitting there grinding away with the software. But man, we asked so many people to play these, replay them, found people that had never seen them before, had them play them, had people that were good players play them, had people that were bad players play them.
How many times did you have me come by your desk? Like I would be walking by your desk and be like, okay, let me see what today's version is, and I would play it and be like, I'd see a section and be like, no, like you cannot do that to people. And it's hilarious that the versions that people think are really, really evil aren't even the most, the most evil stuff that you guys came up with.
That's what's really fun about this in general is you can make a course. I could probably make something in 5 minutes that would be really, really fun to play, but you could spend 5 hours making something that's just going to have a little more polish, a little more, all these different. You can really sort of go all in as deep as you want.
This part used to be way more of these saw blades.
Yeah, so this section used to have way more saw blades, and I feel like you didn't immediately really get this fire flower.
Yeah, it used to be a little further in the course. And the thing is, with the saw blades, it's like you make these courses and like you don't want to make people wait. It makes you think about game design in a different, in an actual real way when people are playing
a real level designer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you don't want to make people wait because that's boring. So it's like you have to give them a chance to get through quickly, but also make it hard. It's really interesting, like playing Mario Maker and just immediately understanding how difficult it must be for the actual
you want to
Mario
swim past those giant wigglers. I love this.
To work for EAD and to make these levels for a living.
This is one of my favorite moments of this course. Is those angry wigglers coming out, and that actually used to be just one. It sounds so simple. And when it was one, it was fun. But
well, let's talk about that too. So there were a couple places where you guys gave those helmets, but you forced the player to get them because people were experiencing them for the first time. And so the only way that you found it for them to actually pick them up is that everybody avoided that right away. They were like, I'm not touching that.
Right,
and so you had to drop it on them.
Let's do something a little bit crazy. I'm just going to take these out just to show this, and I'm just going to switch it from water to ground. Okay, so with that, this shell is just a normal shell, so I can put this on the ground anywhere. So, actually, not only that, but I'm going to switch it from New Super Mario Bros. U to World. So these shells are just normal shells. Like you could shoot this out of a cannon and make it an obstacle, and it is an obstacle unless you throw it up. Normal shell, and now it's a helmet.
It still trips me out. It's weird to see this NWC level, in
a different,
totally, it's absolutely amazing. I'm so used to seeing these levels in a different way.
That's what's going to be cool about the online experience, too, is like you're going to be able to go online and play courses other users have uploaded, but also download those and edit them yourself. You won't be able to re-upload it because somebody else made the original version, but you can go in and look at the guts of it, sort of be inspired by it, sort of see behind the curtain of whoever made whatever inspires you online.
So this was the moment, thinking back to the tournament, where John Numbers really, dude, this is where it got real.
That blew my mind because I've seen like 40 plus people play this, and no one understood immediately the puzzle here. You see this thing, you're like, oh, okay, I'm licking, I don't know what to do. And some people will jump and oh, wait, I can jump off Yoshi, and they'll just try to take damage to jump straight up. But he, within 3 seconds.
No hesitation.
No hesitation. He was just boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And I was just like, what?
Yeah. I've seen people not get Yoshi. I've seen people do all kinds of crazy stuff. And this section right here, I mean, I can't recall exactly, but I think he just nailed it in the very first.
This is actually a hairy section. This section, I've seen a lot of people, you can actually die pretty easily here. If you don't realize you need Yoshi to get up the top jump, and you don't immediately get a second, a mushroom if you get little.
So yeah, you have to have Yoshi in this section. Oh, okay. Even the designer here having a little trouble with his own course.
Fireballs, he then has one to spit out.
That's a little Easter egg. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay, Smitty.
I got this.
You got it.
Oh, come on.
See, again, we were fully expecting this to be happening in the tournament. And, at each one of these obstacles or kind of puzzles, I mean, this level is really kind of a one big puzzle or one big platforming puzzle. We were expecting them to kind of, no matter what head start another player had, that they would kind of, end up near the same area because these things are not easy to figure out. Each one of these segments takes a little bit of time.
Right.
And that's this. If you want to hop into editor real quick, show those invisible blocks. So the invisible blocks are really fun. I think players, every Mario game had some of those. And you can just see, once you hop into edit, you can sort of see the structure behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's 2 spots. I felt like just leaving one spot open where you could jump up would be kind of too difficult because someone might miss it. But I think 2 is a pretty good balance there. Oh, jeez. All right, moving right along. So this guy, so people would play this.
This section. Oh yeah, I made you change this section.
This used to be a lot harder.
I had to put my foot down on this part.
You had so much trouble with this section. You were like, I don't want the final to bog down too hard.
I did. I had to veto this part. So why don't you explain what you had it before?
So this first section is largely untouched. Although Danny was playing this, Danny in Treehouse, and he figured out that you can do this and then air stall here and just turn around and make it over.
Oh, that's a little Easter egg. That's
which is crazy. I didn't even know that was possible.
Is that what you saying? That's what Nate did?
No, Danny did that.
Oh, Danny.
Like 30 people would play this and no one had done that.
And what's cool is that's a way to shave a few seconds off. Eric had no idea it was in there, but when somebody made it, he wasn't like, oh, I got to fix that. You're like, whoa, that's one of those things people learn about, I'm
having horrible flashbacks.
So
about
this section, I'm just gonna do it because it's
you make it how it used to be.
This part was just so way too punishing.
Hey, I have to interrupt you guys really quickly because I'm going to spring something on you that I have not told you about.
Oh, geez, okay.
We have some special guests.
I like that.
Right now, Mr. Tezuka and Mr. Miyamoto are going to join us on stage right now because they want to hang out with us and talk about these levels a little bit. So
very cool.
Mr. Miyamoto and Mr. Tezuka, why don't you come on out? All right.
Ooh.
Oh, and also Bill. But it's Bill. So. All right. Welcome, Mr. Tezuka, Mr. Miyamoto.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
All right. So, these guys didn't know that you guys were going to be coming on right now. This is a surprise for Eric and Morgan, and I'm sure that they're wondering what's going on right now.
Yeah.
これはモーガンさんとエリック君が 2人が出るっていうのは分からなかったのでみんなが驚いてます。どんなことになってますでしょうか。
どんなことになってる。なんでしょう。すごい盛り上がってますよね。
I see that you guys are playing some pretty cool stages here.
Thank you.
なんかね、日曜日からこのコースを見ててね。
We've, I think, seen people playing these courses maybe since Sunday.
手塚さんどうですかこのコース。
僕も絶対クリアできる自信がないですね。でも、全然僕クリアできる自信がないんですよ。
Oh yeah, I didn't think people would be able to clear these courses.
けど、こういうコースがあるっていうのもこのマリオメーカーの魅力ですよね。
But it's courses like these that are why Mario Maker exists, so people can create these kind of unexpected things.
ゲームチェックをしているデバッグをしているチームの人たちがもう自分たちのためのコースだって言ってました。
Even the testing team that was checking these courses could not believe they thought that these were better than the courses that they had made.
Thank you.
That's very high praise.
ね、これを見てくれてる人たちとかコンテストの人たちとかなんかみんなこのコースが欲しい欲しいって言ってくれるんですよね。
So one thing we heard during the Nintendo World Championships were a lot of fans saying that they wanted to be able to play these courses themselves.
よっぽど怖いもの見たさですよね。怖いものが好きなんですよね。
So it sounds like there were a lot of voices out there that really like these courses.
それで手塚さんから発表があります。
So we have an announcement from Mr. Tezuka.
ついさっき相談をしたんですけども、これを製品の中にこの4コースを組み込むことにしました。
So Mr. Miyamoto and I just had a conversation a few moments ago, and we've decided to include these 4 courses in the final version of Super Mario Maker.
You guys are going to make me cry right now. That's amazing. Wow. That's, oh my. That's awesome.
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. It's for all of you.
皆さんにありがとう。
Yeah. I think these guys are pretty speechless right now.
レベルデザイナーデビューです。
So this is going to mark your debut as game designers.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh,
お
wow.
客さんの熱い声のおかげですからみんなにありがとうって言いましょう。
So, and this was also because of all of the fan reaction to these levels. So maybe you should say thank you to all the fans.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Seriously, I mean, thank you guys for. If it wasn't for Super Mario Maker, I don't think I ever would have known how to design a game. I don't know how to program or any of that stuff. But you've given us a tool that. I
プログラムなんかは
don't even know what to say.
何も
Thank
で
you
きない
guys
し
at home.
ツールを渡していただいたんですけれどもこういうことになるとは想定はしてなかったですね。
Thank you guys at home who watched NWC and I think saw those. And thanks to John Numbers and Cosmo who played those courses in a way that we hope people would. And I don't.
And I have to thank you two for making Mario in the first place. I mean, I can't. It's really changed my life. It's crazy.
で任天堂ワールドチャンピオンシップを見ていただいた皆さんにも感謝してますし、でもちろんそのチャンピオンシップでこのコースを遊んだユーザーたちも、もうその場でこういうコースをどう戦略していくかっていうみんなが見ながら頑張っていただいたことも感謝してますし、エリック君が言ったのは、もちろん宮本さんと手塚さんがもう30年前にマリオを作っていただいて、もう非常に感謝してます。
こちらこそありがとうございます。
So thank you both for putting these levels together.
Well, there you have it. Sometimes dreams actually come true on Nintendo Treehouse live at E3. Thank you, everybody. It's been an excellent day. We're going to wrap it up here. We'll be back tomorrow with more games, and thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.